I'm Makunda Sankofa. I'm the founder of the Black Book Show. And, for those who are new to the Black Book Show, if this is your first time, watching the Black Book Show, or if you're unaware of this, the Black Book Show is a platform that started almost 3 years ago now. Initially, it was the Black Books webinar, but the name has now changed to the Black Book Show. But the format is, in terms of the virtual book tour is the same. And a variety of authors of African heritage will be talking about their books. Now, this is an international platform. So, over the course of the last 3 years, I've had authors, some that are in the UK, some that are in USA, some that are in Africa, some that are in the Caribbean, Australia, Canada, different places in the world. But it's, a platform that's there to educate, inspire, and entertain. A lot of people ask, where they can find out more books written by Black authors. So, this platform is a solution, and it's a platform where, various authors will come on and talk about their books, and, authors that have written books on different topics as well. So, some people may have written a book on more cultural or historical. Some people have written books on, fiction, children's books, or I've had people speak about, mental illness or overcoming, cancer, etc. Motivational books. So, a variety of books from different genres. On this Black Book Show this evening, you'll be hearing from a variety of authors of African heritage from different parts of the world. We've got someone from Canada. I am currently in Ghana. There's authors in USA, and there's also authors in the UK as well. This event is in collaboration with Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. I said I started the platform about 3 years ago, but me and Auntie Jean, we've been in collaboration since I think it was about October time. We've started, doing the events together. It was actually Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. I'm also an author as well as the host of the Black Book Show, where I released my first book, The Rise of Rastafari, Resistance, Redemption, and Repatriation. The first edition, that was at Auntie Jean's African Culture Market, the physical event in 2019. Since then, I've gone on to also author Life in Gambia, the Smiling Coast of Africa. And my latest book, How to Market and Sell Your Book, A Guide for Beginners. And this was actually launched as well at the Black Book Show, Auntie Jean's African Culture Market in, I think it was the October one. It was the first Black Book Show in collaboration with Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. So that's just a little bit about myself. I'm now going to, hand it over to the first author who's going to talk about her book, the Talk More, Fight Less. That is Dr. Sandra Ingram. Dr. Sandra Ingram, would you please come on when you start, just tell us, where you're based, give a brief introduction about yourself, and then start to go on and talk about the book that you've written, please. I think you're on mute.
All right. Are you ready for me to go ahead?
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Sandra Ingram, and I am from North Carolina in the United States. And I am a best-selling author, certified life coach with over 20 plus years of experience, and a speaker. I am the founder of Reflective Metamorphosis, which is a relationship coaching program that teaches, guides, and empowers women to become the best they can be through inner healing, personal reflection, self-awareness, and transformation. I am privileged to be here today to share with you my new book, Talk More, Fight Less, Rebuilding, Renewing, and Restoring Communication in Your Relationship. And I want to take a moment to talk about the title for a minute. Talk More, we understand. When we say fight less, we don't necessarily mean physical abuse, But we mean those tiny little things that we say and how we degrade people and don't respect people. That is the fight that we are addressing in this book. So you may ask, why did I write this book? Well, I will tell you one thing. Over the many years of being a minister, talking with people, coaching people, communication or miscommunication is one of the biggest things that ruined relationships, not just relationships with husband or wife, but relationships between children and parents, relationships between people on your job and yourself. And I could see how this was a huge problem. And I wanted to understand what women needed so that they could be better communicators. And in so doing, they could help others to be better communicators. As for myself, my brief story is that I was raped at knife and gunpoint at 25 and went into, of course, a depression with blame and unforgiveness and in a fetal position for a while and didn't know what to do. How do you communicate back with someone who's hurt you so deeply? How do you get back to talking? How do you get back when you don't even want to be on the same street with a man? Not because all men were bad, because of the one man that hurt you. So how could I get back to having meaningful relationships? I was only 25. I wanted, of course, to have a family and to have children. So this book is about the journey that I took to get me back in line. What did I have to do? And so that I could be a communicator and let people really understand my heart. Because once you put your heart out there and it becomes people hurt you, you're kind of timid about doing that. So how did I find my way back? So this is a journey of myself and some of my clients and the obstacles we had to overcome to become effective communicators. And I also give some resources that I use. So what do I do and who do I help? I help married women resolve communication differences without blame themselves and without blaming others, without feeling undervalued and frustrated. Because you know what? We don't need to blame others, or you don't need to blame yourself to resolve conflicts and to have better communication in your relationship. You know what? It just starts with one step, and it starts with you. So we talk about what is communication, and there are lots of different definitions of what communication is. But Dr. Miles Monroe wrote this definition. He said, communication is the ability to ensure that people understand not only what you say, but also what you mean. It is also the ability to listen and to understand others. Developing both aspects of communication takes a lot of time, patience, and it's hard work. But I want to go back because so many times people tell us, well, here's some resources, here's some tools, but they don't tell us how to use them. How do I get from where I am to where I need to be? So when you say that communication is the ability to ensure that people understand not only what you say, but what you mean, well, how do you do that? This is what this book helps you to do. It helps you to know that to get there, it takes inner communication. You have to know who you are. That's the first thing. If you don't know who you are, then you cannot expect other people to understand you. So in the book, I take you through the process. And then it's the ability to listen and to understand others. How do you listen to other people when they're talking at you, they're not listening to you, they're disrespecting you? Well, there's a way to do that. And we have to understand that hearing, is not listening, and that listening is an active process. So is effective communication attainable? Absolutely. And it begins with a solid foundation. And that foundation is the architect or the person who wants to have the change. You know, when you design something, a foundation, the architect builds all the plans. The builder executes the plan. So if you want to have better communication, get your plan together. And then the person that you want to execute the plan can only follow what you said. Now, I know we're going to go to, and people say, well, I'm just one person. He won't listen. She won't listen. I'm out here by myself. And so you have to decide if you want to have better communication or not, because I will tell you, no matter what you do, you cannot change other people, but you can absolutely change yourself, because you have to understand effective communication and even life doesn't happen by chance. It happens by change. And so I want to read to you from my book what one person said when she read the book. She said, "At first glance, I was interested in the title, but not real hopeful. I would have preferred being told that my husband needs to be fixed. But after reading about the origins of why we communicate the way we do, I see how it can work. Having an understanding of how it started in my life helps me to get where I need to go. People often say, you can do it, but don't tell you how. Being a logical-minded person, I need the how and the why and a process. It helps for me to see the honesty and reality that it may not be easy, it may not be quick, but it is possible to communicate more effectively. There's a real process spelled out in this book. After taking the high road only makes me better and takes me higher in my obedience to Jesus Christ." So there's some things in the book I have some nuggets that I like you to take away. And one of my favorite nuggets is knowing is not doing. You know, we know how to do some things. You can Google how to be a better communicator, but that won't make you a better communicator. You need a process and you need someone to help you through it. Now, if you're a great communicator and don't need help, this book will not help you. But if you need, or if you could be a better communicator, then this book is for you. The next nugget, hearing is not listening. Hearing is sounds bouncing off your ear. Listening is an active process. Listening is using your whole body to listen to the person. Your eyes are engaged. You lean forward. You know your everything about you. This person, you're looking at them straight in the eye, because you know what? Listening is not making the grocery list while someone is talking. Listening is not making your rebuttal for the last thing they just said, and you don't want to forget. So you're saying it over and over in your mind, so when it becomes your turn to speak, you can get it out. That's about control. Talking is not communication. Just because your lips are moving doesn't mean that's communication. And the other thing, we have to realize that compromise is a must. And then, you know, you might not get everything you want from the person you want to listen better, but if they do one thing better, you've won. You have a victory. Practice empathy. Everything in your world is not the last answer. Just because you see it one way and someone else sees another way, you might don't have to agree, but we have to respect, because you have the right to have your opinion, but you do not have the right to dismiss other people. So in this book, I share with you some helpful strategies to implement in your relationship and start communication without judgment and resentfulness. The book will teach you how to navigate tough conversations and to avoid the number one mistake that leads to communication breakdown. And I'll tell you what that is. It is the illusion that you are communicating. Some of us are not communicating. We just think we are. We have to understand that how you communicate and why you communicate is a part of your culture. We have learned what we've learned since we were children. Whatever they did in your household is what you did. So, but this can be changed, absolutely, but it takes time to do that. So now, so don't have the illusion that you're communicating when you're really not. So the book, Fight More, Talk Less, can be purchased on Amazon. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And, you know, on this Thursday, March the 2nd, I'm giving a training at 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's how to communicate under stress, navigating difficult conversations. And you can go to dringramlifecoach.com, fill out the contact me form, and I'll send you the link for that. And if you attend, you can get a free copy of the book. And you notice, if even you were like, if you heard something that you said, well, maybe she could help me, maybe this book can help me. If you would like to have a free 30-minute session with me, then go again to dringramlifecoach.com, hit the contact button, and we can talk about a free 30-minute session. So thank you. And remember, it's never too late to achieve effective communication, because it happens by change and not by chance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A lovely, lovely presentation speech by Dr. Sandra Ingram. Talk more, fight less. Right, I'm now going to go on to our next author. You can put Sandra Ingram, you can put your details in the Zoom chat. And if you just mention actually one more time for those who are listening on Black Culture Radio, where the book's available, and if you've got any social media, handles that you would like to share.
Yes. So the book, if you go to Dr. Ingram, Dr. Sandra Ingram on Amazon, you can find the book there. And I do have a Facebook link, Instagram link, and LinkedIn, and I will put them in the chat. And also I will put my website in the chat.
Okay, so let's go on to our next speaker now. I just want to check, is Chris Pittard? Chris, is you joining us? Please let yourself be known. I know some people have come through on my link, so it says Black Book Show guest. Please rename yourself, particularly if you're author, so we can identify you, and obviously rename yourself so that we know, I can tell who you are. Chris Pittard, if you're there, just make yourself be known to me. If not, I'm going to go on to the next author. The next author is Mama Adjoa. So Mama Adjoa, she's the author of the book called The Overstayer. So Mama Adjoa, if you'd just like to come on and tell us where you're based, introduce yourself, and then go on to talk about the book that you've written and how you become an overstayer.
Greetings, everyone. I'm in London at the moment. Can't wait to get back to Ghana. The beautiful sunshine. Thank you so much, Auntie Jean and McConan, for the invitation to be here this evening. Greetings to everyone on Zoom and those listening. So a little bit about myself. My background is in nursing. I'm a registered nurse, independent health visitor. I'm also a photographer, even though I haven't been doing much photography. I need to get back to that once I'm in Ghana. And I'm a doula. I run a charitable group called We Start, where we provide menstrual products to girls and women in Croydon. So yeah, I do lots of different things. Anyway, today I'm here to talk about my book, The Overstayer. And picture of it. So this book came about, let me go back a bit. So my first trip to Ghana was in October 2019. I went with a group of friends, loved it so much, booked to go back for 6 days in March 2020. Obviously lockdown happened. And so my 6-day trip became 150 days. I returned back to London in August 2020. While I was in Ghana, enjoying the food, the people, the culture, everything, you know, I had lots of time on my hands, and I started writing. Now, I hadn't written any poetry since I was about 12 years old, which was over 40 years ago. And I wrote over 100 poems while, you know, I was in Ghana. When I came back, my book coach, Dr. Ava Eagle Brown, had a book writing course, and it wasn't just about becoming an author. It was a book to business course. And I did the course, and that's how The Overstayer was formed. It's called The Overstayer basically because, you know, I went for 6 days and returned after 150. I didn't overstay illegally. I extended my my stay. And so the book is a collection of my experiences, things I experienced. I'm really sorry if you can hear any noise. It's my brother's birthday. And the house is full of people. I can hear someone's just put the Hoover on for whatever reason, I don't know. So please excuse me if you can hear any noise. Sorry, well, it's all happening. Anyway, sorry, I've lost my, yeah, so I wrote over 100, this book has over, has 32 poems in it. And yeah, a collection of my experiences, things that other people experienced that, you know, they spoke to me about, things I witnessed, my time. It's just a collection of the time that I spent in Ghana. And for me, you know, when I was thinking about it this afternoon, and really the book is more than just a book to me. It's about resilience, it's about my perseverance, it's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway, because at the time, when I went back to Ghana in March 2020, I only knew about 3 people. And so I was welcomed and I really felt at home. And that's really why I didn't come back, even though I could have come back to London, but I decided to stay and just see, you know, what would happen. And, you know, just to enjoy the experience. It's a book about, yeah, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, self-belief. It's about endurance, acceptance, love, overcoming obstacles, and really just making the best of the situation at the time. I remember there was a charter flight that was for £500, and I decided I wasn't going to leave. It's not that I didn't have the £500. Of course I had the £500, but I wanted to experience. I just wanted to see what would happen. and the whole experience changed my life. I have now relocated to Ghana. I will be back out there by next month. But the book, let me just open a page, maybe a couple of minutes, and I'll just read one poem for you. This one is called Lockdown in Paradise. It was written on the 19th of April, 2020. Lockdown in Paradise. I wake and rise as the sun starts to smile before her rays brighten the sky. I climb to the rooftop and declare my daily affirmations, giving thanks for another sunrise. I face her. Her magnificent glow bathes my face. Heat penetrates my naked skin, and I feel her deep within. Tears of joy flow along my cheeks, drip down my breasts. My wrapper is damp. My vision is blurred. Tears and smiles mixed. I cannot see. I breathe in. I feel renewed, restored, and replenished because I am now ready to face another day of lockdown in paradise. So yeah, that's one of the poems. Some of the other titles are Time to Stop the Silence, Supermoon, Mangoes, Accra Town, Juicy, My Lockdown Buddy, I Miss. So there's a whole series of poems in there, all about my experience and yeah, Ghana. So that's the first book I wrote. Okay, and then what happened while I was in Ghana? I decided that I wanted to learn one of the local dialects, which is Tree, spelled T-W-I, but it's the T-W is pronounced Tree. And so I was posting daily on Facebook, family and friends, learning fruits and vegetables and colors and numbers. And when I came back, I thought I can't keep all of this information to myself. And that's the same way I wrote The Overstayer, because I'd written all those poems and I didn't want to just keep them in my notebook. And so that's how my second book, which is called Mama Adra's Children's Photo Book, Fruits in English and Tree, was born. So basically it is a collection of photographs. The majority of them I've taken myself. And what I try to do is to show the fruits growing, because a lot of people, or children or even adults, don't know how some fruits grow. I remember I was about 12 years old, and I don't know if you can see a picture there of the pineapple. Okay, that's the pineapple growing. I was about 12 years old when I was in Jamaica, and my auntie took me to my grandma's house, and on the land there were pineapples, and I had no idea how pineapples grew. And so yeah, in this book there are pictures of apples, avocado, coconut, cocoa, sugar apple, grapes, jackfruit, and others. So there's a picture of the pineapple, and then you've got pineapple written in English, and then underneath it's the tree word, which is abrobe. So it's written in the local dialect, and then the pronunciation is also there for you to be able to pronounce the word. I had to update the book because initially I wrote it without the pronunciations, and then I received feedback. People saying they weren't sure of the pronunciations, and so I went back and did that. So that's fruits. And then the other one is Mama Adra's children's photo book, vegetables. Same thing again, lots of different vegetables, from aubergine to bitter melon, or cerci, as we call it in Jamaica. A lot of the foods, vegetables and food in Ghana is also found in the Caribbean. We've got cassava, cocoyam, which is mankeni. Corn or maize is ebro. cocoyam leaves, contomere, garden eggs, garlic, mushrooms, okra, and nkrumah. So yeah, and really, even though I said it's a children's
Sorry
book.
to interrupt. Could you just raise your book up a little bit for a little bit longer so that we can have a look?
Oh, sorry. So this is the vegetables one. And at the front, you've got a picture of peppers, cocoyam, yam, and garden eggs.
Yeah, I just took a look on Amazon. I see all three of your books are on Amazon.
Oh. Thank you. So
And that's in Canada.
yes.
Yeah, it's Amazon Canada. So I'm sure it's on Amazon US or UK too.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. All books are available on Amazon. They're also available in the UK via my Etsy shop. If you buy it from the Etsy shop, you will get a signed copy. And the vegetables and the fruit versions of books are also available as, keep saying audiobook, but it's not audio, it's Kindle. And I think they're about £2.50, £3 for the Kindle version of the books. Now, going back to my book coach, Dr. Ava Eagle Brown, where she spoke about, she got us to not only think about writing, being authors and writing the books. It was a book to business. So the umbrella, the main name of my book business is With Love from Ghana. It includes the books, and I'm really excited because we've been working on this for quite a while. We now offer tours to Ghana. Just booked 15 people to come to Ghana in November, so I'm really excited about that. If you're interested in coming to Ghana, all the information is available on the website, which is www.withlovefromghana.com. We don't provide the flights. You have to provide your own flights, because we're not a travel agent, we're a tour operator. So once you get to Ghana, we then manage everything else in terms of the transfers, accommodation, transportation, your food, and everything else. So if you're interested, we have dates in September, October, and November. And we also do bespoke packages. So July and August are free at the moment. So if anyone wants to come, they can contact me to get some more information and book with us. I've received training from Ghana Tourist Authority. Actually the first UK Ghana guru. And the reason they put on the training was to really standardize the sorry, somebody's writing. What is the email address again to go to Ghana? I'll put those in the chat. Okay, thank you. I'll have a read and put answers.
Thank you. Also, if you can voice out the email address and your contact details for those listening on Black Culture Radio.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so contact details via Instagram. Everything is With Love from Ghana. So at Insta, it's With Love from Ghana. The website is www.withlovefromghana.com. Email is hi at withlovefromghana.com. Thank you, Madasi.
Thank you very much, Mama Angela. We're waiting for you to come back to Ghana as well. I'm waiting to see you when you come back to Ghana.
I can't wait to get back. Yeah. It's a long story, but I'll be there soon, don't worry. We will be able to meet.
Yes, great. So yeah, as you mentioned, put your details in the Zoom chat in case anyone wants to purchase your book. For all authors in general, once you've gone on and spoken, please put your details in the Zoom chat, your links, and if you want to give social media handles, so if anyone wants to get a copy of the book, they can get a copy of the book, or they can indeed follow you or contact you. So there's someone I think asked about your email address in the Zoom chat regarding Ghana. So you can obviously contact her through the chat, and then communicate with her from then on. I'm going to go on to the next speaker now. Thank you, Mama Ajwa. It was also great to to interview you as well for the Black Book Show, the radio show, and the podcast. So the podcast will be coming out. The radio show has already been aired. The podcast will be coming out soon as well. Dr. Sandra Ingram is the first author speaker before Mama Ajwa. She was also on the Black Book radio show, and the podcast will be coming out soon. The best way to stay in, keep up to date with things that are happening regarding the Black Book Show is probably through the Facebook group. The Facebook group, if you go on Facebook and just put the Black Book Shows, that is Facebook, and put the Black Book Shows for updates, details about when the next virtual book tour is coming on. Also, some people be on my mailing list, but if you're not, you would also find out via the Facebook group, and also for information and details regarding my radio shows and podcasts, the Black Book radio shows and podcasts. So this is the virtual book tour. I'm also a radio presenter on Luton Urban Radio every other Monday, and Galaxy Radio every other Saturday, Galaxy Afiri station, galaxyafiri.net. Now, those two my next radio shows are upcoming tomorrow and this Saturday, where I'll be speaking to other authors, Dr. Tamra Foley, and Nisha Jackson and Devon Tellis will be featuring, and they'll be talking about the upcoming Social Emotional Learning Day. And I'll have also other authors on the platform as well. If you're interested, if you're author listening and you're interested in featuring either the virtual book tour or indeed being on my radio show and podcast, please contact me. You can contact me at email info@blackbookshows.com. That is email info@blackbookshows.com, or you can reach out to me via WhatsApp. That is +44 79 43178 117. Again, that is +44 79 43178 117. Send me a message, or you can give me a call on WhatsApp. Obviously, don't give me a call during the show now, but after the show, you can send me a call, or you can leave a message. I am in Ghana, so please don't call me directly on a normal call. Call me via a WhatsApp call. Right. Let me go on to kind of have the WhatsApp number. I will message. I'll put it in the chat as well, so you've got it. I can see the comment there. Right. Let me go on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Chris Pittard, who's now joined us, and I actually interviewed him recently. I think it was a couple of days ago. I interviewed him about his children's book series. So Chris, please come on. Introduce yourself. Tell us where you're based. And then start to tell us, about the children's book series that you've written.
Well, good afternoon. I'm sorry that I'm not able to display my name on the screen. For some reason, it's gone through a different system. So right now, my name is not being displayed. But my name is Chris Pittard. That's spelled Chris, and my last name is spelled Pittard. And I'm based out of San Antonio, Texas. I'm the owner of Olympiad Publishing, a publishing company that I established in 2018 because I found it difficult and frustrating to try to find publishers for my works. I have published 2 novels as well as 6 children's books. And today I'm here to talk really about the children's books because those seem to be the ones that have the most universal appeal. Up to this time, I've actually written 12 children's stories, but I've only published 6 books because it took a while to find an illustrator. In my case, I was looking for an illustrator who could illustrate African-American children because that's what my focus was on African-American children. And I wanted to have someone who could illustrate the children the way I wanted them illustrated. And my illustrator is Mr. Bill Reed, who is a local illustrator here in San Antonio and has done a wonderful job illustrating my books. I started writing these children's books back in 2002, when my wife had been honored with her master's degree in journalism. And I asked her what was she going to do with her master's degree. And I said, I thought you ought to write, maybe write children's stories or whatever kinds of books. And she said, well, I don't do that kind of creative writing. And I said, you ought to. And she said, no, I don't do that, but I don't think you can do it if, you do write other stuff. I don't think you can write children's stories. And I said, I bet I can. So that's where the idea came from for me to at least start trying to write children's stories. My inspiration for the children's stories are my own daughters. I have two daughters who both have red hair, and their grandmother, my mother, who was African-American as well, also had red hair growing up, and she called her two granddaughters her carrot tops. So that's where the name of the series comes from, the continuing adventures of the Carrot Top Kids. And the Carrot Top Kids are based on real events that my daughters went through growing up as military kids. I served for 13 years as an Army officer, and we traveled all over the country and lived in a lot of different places. And as a result, my daughters went through a lot of interesting events. They had a lot of interesting experiences growing up as military kids. So I thought I would use those as an inspiration. And the first book, which is called The Puppies, and I'm going to move to the side because behind me is the virtual background, which shows the various books. So The Puppies was the first book that I wrote for my daughters, and it involves the first time that they got dogs and what kids don't like to have puppies. So that was the first one. Now, the books themselves are not Afrocentric in that they don't describe the experience of being African American. They're not about the fact that the girls are African American. They are African American, and all the characters, or most of the characters, are African American in the books, but the books themselves are not Afrocentric. They just show kids doing kid things. The second book in the series is called Fun in Mexico, and that describes the experience my daughters had when we went across the border from Texas to Laredo or Juarez or Matamoros, when the girls had an opportunity to shop in Mexico, to eat Mexican food, to listen to various types of Mexican music. And it describes their experience in Mexico when they learned a little bit of the Spanish language as well. The third book in the series begins their trek toward Alaska. And when we left Texas to go to Alaska, we went through California. So we visited Disney World, but of course, because of various copyright issues, I did not use Disney World or Disneyland as a part of the book, but instead I invented a place called Cartoon World, which has various cartoon figures and heroes and all kinds of fictional kinds of characters that the girls experienced while they went through Disneyland or similar to Disneyland. And in that book, the girls have an adventure at Cartoon World, which allows them to help each other out and use the Cartoon World characters, to help them out as well. The last three books, though, I call the Alaska Trilogy. And I call them that because we lived in Alaska for a year as part of my military service. And actually, I chose Alaska over Hawaii because I thought Alaska would be more interesting, and it was. The first book of the Alaska Trilogy is called All the Way to Alaska. And what it describes is our trek from California all the way up to Fairbanks, Alaska, where it was that we actually were stationed. It shows our journey through California, through the Pacific Northwest, up into Canada, where we eventually got a ferry, which we stayed on for 3 days up to Alaska through Juneau and Sitka and places like that. And it shows how the girls saw whales and they interacted with the other kids on the ferry. And eventually we drove to Fairbanks from the ferry location, where we saw grizzly bears out there in the wild, which was really exciting. as you drove by the grizzly bears as they're sitting on the side of the road waving at you saying, hey, come on, stop here. No, thank you very much. We kept driving. But we saw all kinds of animals on the way to Fairbanks, and that's all part of that book. The next one in the Alaska trilogy is called Land of the Midnight Sun. And in Land of the Midnight Sun, it shows when we got there in the middle of July, how the weather was so different from what we had experienced in other places around the country. At that point, since it was still in July, the sun was out for over, the almost 24 hours. So when we got there, the girls wanted to get out and they wanted to ride their bikes and play and everything else, but it was 2:00 in the morning, but it looks just like it does outside right now. So it was kind of confusing for them, but it was very interesting for us during that summertime period. And the book describes an adventure they had exploring some of the areas around them, again, being exposed to various fauna and animals there in Alaska, including moose and foxes and so forth. And then the final book, the most recent one, which came out in December, is called Are We Really at the North Pole? And that's the one that's displayed here. A few pages of it are displayed here. And in that book, we talk about the winter wonderland, which is Alaska in Fairbanks in the wintertime, during the winter solstice, when the sun never comes out in that 24-hour period. So the entire day is in darkness. And on that day, we decided we would go visit the town of North Pole. Now, most people don't know this about Alaska, but the town of North Pole is where your letters go. If you're anywhere in the world or in the United States, if you write a letter to Santa Claus, then it goes to North Pole, Alaska, because that is where it's addressed to, North Pole, Alaska. And the entire town of North Pole is based on the Santa Claus mythology. So the streets are named after reindeer, they're named after other characters within the Santa Claus mythology. And in the middle of the town is a large workshop. And in that workshop are elves making toys. Outside the workshop are reindeer in their pens. They have a 30-foot statue of Santa Claus outside the workshop. They have on top of the workshop are decorations showing, the reindeer and the sleigh and all that. And inside, of course, is Santa Claus and Mrs. Santa Claus as well. But of course, in our book, as you can see here on the end, in our book, when the Carrot Top kids meet Santa Claus, they meet what we consider the real Santa Claus. And in this case, of course, he's African American, and his wife is also African American. So that's kind of the twist to that book, is that they meet an African American or Black Santa Claus, basically. And growing up, that's one thing that they did have around the house, was they had the depictions of Black Santa Claus rather than the typical white Santa Claus you might find in other people's homes. But those are the children's books. Again, there are 6 of them right now, and we're going to be continuing to publish them because we have found that there is a need for children's books of African American children doing kids stuff. And as a matter of fact, we attended what was called the San Antonio Black Authors Book Festival here in San Antonio. It was the 4th annual one. And in that situation, we sold several of the children's books because next week, I'm told, is called Black Children's Books Week here in the United States. I wasn't aware of that. But so they had all the children's book authors together right near the front of the venue, and we had an opportunity to sell a lot of books yesterday to a lot of kids who were really excited about the artwork, because the artwork jumps off the page at you. It's very colorful, it's very bold, and the characters themselves are, like I said, they're African American. They're characters that the kids can relate to, regardless of whether they're African American or not, because these are characters that are doing things that kids do. So we've had a lot of success in selling those books to a variety of kids. And those books, as in all the books, they can be found on barnesandnoble.com. They can be found on Amazon, Goodreads, and they can also be found at my website, which is called olympiadpublishing.com. So if you look on any of those sites, you can purchase the books. But of course, if you get them from my site, then not only will you get the books a little cheaper than you will on the other sites, but they will also be hand inscribed by me so that you get a personal note from the author. Now, earlier I mentioned that I had written two other books, and those two books can also be found online. The first one is called The Transmonaut Chronicles. Now that sounds like a really strange name for a book, but what the book does, it describes the adventures that myself, my brother, and two of our best friends had back in 1977 when we went on a road trip from Texas to California. And as you can imagine, 4 young Black guys on a road trip for 2 weeks in a brand new 1977 black and gold special edition Trans Am. So for anyone who is familiar with the movies from the United States, you may be aware of the movie Smokey and the Bandit. And in the movie Smokey and the Bandit, that was the main vehicle in the movie was a special edition black and gold Trans Am. And that was my car at the time. So that was the it car of the summer. So that car invited a lot of attention, both from young ladies as well as from the police. So we had a lot of adventures during that 2-week period. And the way that that book came to be was that one of the people we met on the trip, someone that my brother was quite enamored with, 30 years later, they had lost contact after the trip. And 30 years later, they reconnected in a very odd way. And after my brother reconnected with this person, he called me and said, you know, I reconnected with so-and-so. And I said, really? How did that happen? He said, well, and he described the situation. I said, well, that's really, you know, kind of wild how that happened. He goes, well, you know, I was thinking about it. Do you think you can write a book about the road trip? And I said, I guess I can. And that's how this book came about. So it took me several years, though, to actually write the book because it was my first big writing project. And it was also one that I wanted to make sure was as factual as possible because I was going to base it on true events. So I tried to contact as many people that were on the road trip, people that we met during the road trip, which we had not talked to in over 30 years at that point. I interviewed people. I got information from people. I did my research and eventually produced the book. And at that point, I was looking for someone to publish the book. I found an African-American publishing company here in San Antonio who took on the project and helped me to publish the book, market the book, and get it out there. And interestingly enough, the book at the end has its own kind of twist because we find out why it was that my brother and this young woman lost contact. And it was not because of want of trying between the two of them, but there were other factors involved. And that becomes kind of the twist at the end of the book that you find out why it was that they lost contact.
I'm letting you know you've just got another minute, so just be mindful of that. Okay,
well, great. My other novel is one called "If You Ain't Ranger, You Ain't," and it's about my journey to become United States Army Ranger and the racism and bigotry and discrimination as well as bullying that I faced in the 60s and 70s. So that's a very interesting book as well. So I again invite people to try to order the books either through my website, olympiadpublishing.com, through barnesandnoble.com, through goodreads.com, and through amazon.com. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk to such an international audience.
Thank you very much. That's Chris Pittard. Another wonderful speech, and I really enjoyed, having our interview that we did a couple of days ago, which will be coming out on the Black Books radio show very soon, as well as the Black Book Show podcast. And just a reminder, this is the virtual book tour. If the Black Book Show podcast is on Spotify, if you go on our website, www.blackbookshows.com, www.blackbookshows.com. I'll put that in the chat as well. There is a selection where you can select on the podcast, the radio show podcast, and you can listen to previous interviews of authors that have been on the Black Books radio show before. Yeah. Also join the Facebook group. If you go on Facebook and put in the Black Book Shows, you'll be kept up to date with the next upcoming virtual book tours, and also the upcoming radio shows. Right, I'm now going to go on to our next author speaker. He's also a publisher as well, and indeed one of the sponsors of the Black Book Show. I'm talking about Tolu A. Akinyemi, the Roaring Lion of Newcastle. So Tolu, if you would please, come on and, talk to us if you're going to concentrate on your books or, your publishing. I'll let you decide. I think, is it 17 books you've written now? I'm always losing count, 17, 18 books. He's written several books, but Tolu A. Akinyemi, please welcome on to the Black Book Show, and just briefly introduce yourself and then go on to to speak further.
Good evening, Michael, and good evening, everyone, and good evening, Auntie Jane, for hosting us tonight as well. Yeah, my name is Tolu A. Akinyemi, also known as Toludo, the Lion of Newcastle. I am a multiple award-winning author. I write in the genres of poetry, short stories, children's literature, and essays, and it's great to be on here tonight. I have published a total of 19 books so far, and I have another collection of poems forthcoming on the 1st of March, which takes me to a total of 20 books. I am also a publisher at the Roaring Lion Newcastle. So we have various Black authors signed onto our literary imprint, and you can find out more about the literary imprint at the Roaring Lion Newcastle.com. Also, I am the co-founder of Lion and Lilac. Lion and Lilac is a literary platform committed to publishing literary works of underrepresented writers from around the globe. And I am also the founder of the Newcastle Review. The Newcastle Review is committed to amplifying works of authors in Newcastle upon Tyne and beyond. So everything about literary news, publication, and the likes, that is what the Newcastle Review is meant to do. So if you're interested in my books or any of the authors on my literary imprint, you can check out our website, theroaringlionnewcastle.com, and on my own personal website as well, toludo.com. That's my personal website. So tonight I'll be reading from my collection of poems that should be coming out on the 1st of March. And this collection of poems is titled The Morning Cloud is Empty. So The Morning Cloud is Empty is an exploration of the human crisis and the climate crisis as well. So it's a collection of poems that looks at the current issues affecting humankind at the moment when we talk about climate change, the cost of living crisis, soaring interest rates, inflation as well. So basically, it's a collection of poems that looks at the issues affecting all of us at this present time. Like I always say, I am a writer who thrives on writing about the human experience, because our experiences as humans, it's unending. We have a lot of issues affecting the world right now, and we are all a bundle of experiences, and that is what I thrive mainly on. So tonight I will read a couple of poems, and I think it will be pivotal for me to. So I have like, yesterday Nigeria, my country of birth, we are going through our federal elections. So basically presidential elections, House of Rep elections, and the elections into the Nigerian Senate. So I have 2 poems titled in this that will be reading first, and this is titled Elections, Elections 1. Elections 1. My father's house echoes, home has lost the familiar laughter that once kept its flame alive. We are scattered seeds, rooted in new environments on the trail of survival. I told father, elections have consequences. Bad leadership sinks lifelong dreams, scatters seeds into alien lands, and turns the home into a caricature. So that's the first one from the forthcoming collection, which will be out on the 1st of March. And that poem is titled Elections 1. And the follow-up to that is titled Elections 2, just looking at it from another viewpoint. So this is Elections 2, Act 1, Scene 1. It's my turn to set your dreams ablaze. It's our turn for renewed hope. The change we promised is murky. You are the billowing smoke, and our words were all smoke screens, specimens of no value. Act 1, Scene 2. Let the North have this power. Let the Northern Bloc vote its own. King and Kate, vote not a stranger to our land. Act 1, Scene 3. Let the bastions of integrity, competence, and national renewal prickle your conscience, pinch you, and set fire to your heart to ignite the path to equity, fairness, and justice, lest we all perish under the rubble of these tribal wars. So the next poem I'll be reading, this is titled Pandemic of Empty Pockets. And with the cost of living crisis affecting us in, affecting most parts of the world at this present time, basically due to the war in Ukraine, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Yeah, so this is titled Pandemic of Empty Pockets. Cut your coat to fit your deflated size. Cut your coat to the specifics of this pandemic of empty pockets. Inflation is a turbulent sea, tipping boats and sinking dreams. Cut your coat to cover your rising bills. Cut your coat as we trudge on this poverty hill. The cost of living is an unconsuming current, and we are far adrift from the seashore. Cut your coat before your pockets fill up with salt water. And the final one I'll be reading tonight is just a poem about climate change. And this is titled Losing the War. We are losing the climate war to fogs, posturing, and individualism. Our forests are burning and rains no longer wet the ground. We pray, but the clouds are no longer gathering. We can see neither the arc nor the rainbow. Our planet is set ablaze by capitalist emissions. Our greed is swallowing the grain of the earth. Yeah, thank you very much. And that is my collection of poem titled The Money Cloud is Empty, which is scheduled to come out on the 1st of March, 2023. That's just a couple of days from now. And before this, I have written, like I mentioned earlier, I've published in the genres of children's literature. I have titles like I Wear Self-Confidence Like a Second Skin, I Am Not a Troublemaker, If You Have to Be Anything, Be Kind. Also titles of inspirational poetry, Dead Lions Don't Roll, Dead Dogs Don't Bark, and Dead Cats Don't Meow, Don't Waste the Nightlife. I've written an award-winning collection of short stories titled Inferno of Silence, an award-winning collection of poems titled A Booktiful Love. I've written a collection of poems for the Black community titled Black Does Not Equal Inferior. So these are, if you look behind, these are some of my other titles as well. And Robin, that's a collection of essays, Awaken Your Inner Lion. Poetry books, which is a collection of poems on grief. I also have another collection of poems titled Lost Memories, which explores the theme of memory. I have a collection of poems, God in the Human Body, a collection of poems on the COVID pandemic, Born in Lockdown, and God in the Human Body. Also another collection of poems, Never Play Games with the Devil. And I am based in Newcastle upon Tyne, United Kingdom. More information about me is available on toludo.com, toluakinyemi.com, about my publishing imprint, the Roaring Lion Newcastle.com. My literary platforms are lionandlilac.org and the newcastlereview.org. Thank you very much, Makunen and Auntie Jane. Thank you for having me on tonight, and thank you for the great work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Tolu Akinyemi, the Roaring Lion of Newcastle, also a sponsor of the Black Book Show. He's going to put his links in the Zoom chat. What I'm going to ask you, Tolu, just for those that are listening on Black Culture Radio, if you just repeat the website, and just if you could just spell it for them as well, just repeat it and spell it for them slowly so they can just take it down for where your books can be purchased, and also the Lion on Lilac. And I know you've got a few websites. You've got the Roaring Lion, toludu.com, and then the Lion on Lilac. But if you just mention them and spell them, just so people who are listening on radio, they can take it on board.
Yeah, so the website is Tolu, toludo.com, toludo.com. Yeah, and toluakinyemi.com is toluakinyemi.com, and Roaring Lion Newcastle.com is TheRoaringLion Newcastle NEWCASTLE.com. And my books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, bookshop.org, on toludo.com, on the Roaring Lion Newcastle.com, and everywhere else where books are sold. Thank you.
And can we get a roar, please?
Roar!
Tolu Akinyemi, the Roaring Lion of Newcastle, and one of the I'm pleased to say one of the sponsors of the Black Book Show. If you would like to sponsor the Black Book Show, like Tolu Akinyemi and others that are going to be speaking, such as Wayne Hines is also a sponsor, Joseph Jimmy Asher Foundation, Marcia M. Spence, Sister Leggett, and others, Barty Durr, and others that sponsor the Black Book Show. You can do that. Please contact me, info@blackbookshows.com. That is info@blackbookshows.com, or on WhatsApp +44 79 43 178 117, +44 79 43 178 117. And then you can feature on the show if you want to become a regular. Say like Tolu, he features on the show. He or he would either feature or sends one of his authors from his publishing company on every single month, or others that come on the show like Wayne Hines, he features every single month. So yeah, if you're interested in sponsor, if you've got a book, or you've got your bookseller, or your publisher, or you've got a coach in a book related service, please get in touch if you would like to promote it on the Black Book Show platform, or indeed if you're an author, or of an author that you'd like to recommend, get them yourself, or they can get in touch with me at info@blackbookshows.com. Right, let's go on to our next speaker. Our next author that we're going to be hearing from is Dr. Tamir. So Dr. Tamir, if you please come on, tell us where you're based, and a brief introduction about yourself before you then go on to talk about the book that you've written.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here to have this opportunity to share some of my work with everyone. I am Dr. Tamir Pialcent. I have over 15 years of clinical experience working with diverse populations across the lifespan. I am the owner of Serenity for Youth and Families, where I provide mental health therapy to children, to youth, to families, with this vision and hope of helping them find the peace in the storm that they're in and a courage to make a change. So I help assist and support them as they go throughout their recovery journey as it pertains to mental health, mental illness. A little bit more about me. I have served as the Assistant Program Director and Program Director for Western Psychiatric Institute and Clinic, their inpatient units for both child and adolescent, as well as the award-winning bipolar adult unit, where I, in that role, provided treatment as well as administrative clinical leadership. And that center is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am now based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I continue to provide services to individuals. As a clinician, I provide therapeutic services and treatments to individuals with a host of different kinds of mental illnesses. So those who have mood disorders, those with chronic pain, depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, those who've immigrated to the United States and are struggling to fit in with the group that they're part of, or just find themselves. Additionally, a little bit about my clinical work, I'm also an academician. I'm a tenured professor at Pennsylvania Western University, and I'm also the owner of Serenity for Youth Publishing. Serenity for Youth Publishing began in 2020 with the goal of creating a platform for educating the community on mental health and therapy. One of my goals and one of my desires is to normalize discussions on mental health, on wellness, and psychiatric treatment. So that is part of the goal and the vision of Serenity for Youth Publishing. Using this platform, I aim to provide the community, whether it's youth, young adults, clinical providers, adults, educators, with the tools that they will need and use to promote healthy conversations around self-worth, self-care, mental illness, coping skills, and much more. And so on the Serenity for Youth Publishing website, you'll find a couple of books as well as journals that I offer the community. One being a 14-day journal called My Brown Girl Journal. It addresses mind and body for girls of color. We know that girls of color, unfortunately, often remain and struggle in silence. So the My Brown Girl Journal equips young girls with emotional skills through the various activities I have in there for them so that they're functioning at their best. In addition to that, there is also a book by a young author called Naraya Rose Tima, where at the time where she wrote this book, she was only 5 years old. Her book is called Where is the Kitten? Her first book. And this book is about a little kitten who finds herself in some interesting places throughout the house. It's really a great read for young readers who are pre-K to second grade. And it works through helping them understand what anxiety looks like and how they can manage the nervousness, the nervous feelings they feel. And then additionally, I have the My Brown Girl Journal, an inspirational edition for mature women. What this book is, it's a journal that blends psychology with spirituality. It's a 30-day, 100-page journal that walks women through 30 days looking at mental, physical, financial, and spiritual growth. So throughout the 30 days, there are weekly tips, there are mental health prompts and activities from a clinical perspective. There are daily opportunities to journal thoughts, reflect their day, as well as it ends with a SMART goal activity, where it prepares them to really create and measure goals to address the 4 areas that I mentioned before. So that's a little bit about me and the services I offer through those 2 platforms. Today, I will speak to you about the book that is the genesis, the beginning of Serenity for Youth Publishing. This book is called Corey's Back. Corey's Back is ideally for kids grades in the United States 3 to 5, and you can convert that to whatever nation you're in, whatever country you're in, the grades by age, so ideally for kids who are age 6 to 12. And it's written by me, a former pediatric inpatient psychiatric program director who became an academician, to normalize conversations about psychiatric inpatient hospitalization. So what happens when a young person, could be anyone, but in this context, when a young person goes into the hospital for treatment for mental illness? We know as adults, working through mental illness is often very personal. It can be very frightening. And when we think about sharing our journeys with others, that can even produce some fear and anxiety. For many children, talking about their mental illness, talking about mental health with friends, family members even, can fuel anxiety. And so when we think of children, anxiety in children is seen as a subjective feeling of fear. They worry, they're indecisive, they don't know what they want, and sometimes they can avoid the very things that really can actually be helpful to them. Everyone, at the end of the day, experiences, whether you're young or old, some symptoms of anxiety. These feelings can be so debilitating that it holds the person back from what they want and what they need to do. So this book, Corey's Back, is a story of Corey, a 5th grader who struggles with anxiety. It provides readers insight into Corey's anxious thoughts as he shares his journey post-psychiatric hospitalization. So after being discharged from the hospital for mental illness, he shares his journey. In the United States, for example, we know that of 74.5 million children in the US, 17.1 million, that's a huge number, 17.1 million, have or has received treatment for a psychological disorder. That's more than children who have cancer, diabetes, and AIDS combined. Globally, it is estimated that 166 million adolescents, so that's not even looking at those who are younger, but just adolescents, boys and girls, struggle with mental health conditions. So we know that this is a problem. So with Corey's Back, the goal of this book is really to promote discussion around mental illness. It's to promote discussion around treatment and to encourage other kids to be empathetic, to be kind, to be supportive and accepting of those who have mental health needs. So if their friends are struggling, how can they extend love, hope, and grace at times to those friends? We know that, for example, patients who struggle after they've been hospitalized for some time for mental illness, they struggle with, what am I going to say to people when they ask, where have you been? How come you haven't been around? When they're asking all these questions, we know that they struggle with those thoughts, oftentimes in silence, because they don't know what to say when people ask them the question, that dreaded question, where have you been? So again, this book, Corey's Back, is in a response. It's a response to the patients who struggle with returning back to the community after inpatient psychiatric hospitalization. So the book, again, Corey's Back, shares a story of this 5th grader who struggles with anxiety. His journey provides readers, young readers, and those at any age with insight into his anxious thoughts. He shares his post-hospitalization story with his friends. He even teaches them how to support others who may present with similar issues and needs. So the book ends with providing kids with tips on how they can assert themselves so that they're empowered to speak up and they're empowered to help friends who may be struggling with mental illness. So Corey's Back, along with several of my other books and journals, can be found at Serenity for Youth Publishing, LLC. That is www.serenityyouthpublishing.us. It also is available in Kindle version on Amazon. You can also connect with me via a number of different social media platforms so that we may continue this conversation even more so. You can connect with me on Facebook at Dr. Piersaint. That is DrPiersaint. You can connect with me using Serenity for Youth Publishing on Facebook as well. I'm also on YouTube as Dr. Tamir P. Piersaint. That is DrTamarep, and then Piersaint, where you will be able to find interviews that I've completed, as well as virtual story time with Dr. P. Virtual story time with Dr. P was in the middle of the pandemic, a response to kids who were unable to leave the house. I read stories to children that focuses on mental wellness and mental illness and empowering. So you can find some of those videos on the YouTube channel, Dr. Tamir P. Piersaint. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Tamir P. Piersaint, as well as on using the Serenity for Youth Publishing Instagram page. For those who love TikTok, I am new to TikTok. I am on TikTok as Dr. Tamir P. Piersaint, or Dr. P, for those who are Haitian Creole speakers, where on TikTok, I offer tips on how to manage mental illness and connect with individuals as they share some of their thoughts as well. So again, I thank you for your time. I thank you for the opportunity. My hope is that this conversation doesn't stop here. I look forward to partnering with you. If you're interested in collaborating with me or would like for me to come and be part of a speaking engagement or presentation, you can feel free to email me at drpiersaint@serenityyf.com. That's Dr. Piersaint at serenityyf.com. That is a little bit about myself and my book, Corey's Back, that is right, well, to the right of me here. My hope is that you pick up a copy, share copies with those who are educators, those who work with children, and maybe even for those loved ones that you take care of. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tamir Piersaint. Someone's actually put in the comment, what's the TikTok again? Also, and for the listeners, if you can just repeat your social media handles, but if you spell your name, so for those particularly that are listening that can take it on board.
Sure. Yes, my TikTok is Dr. Tamir, Tamare P, that's my middle initial, my last name, Piersaint, Piersaint. So Dr. Tamir P. Piersaint at TikTok. And for those who are Creole speakers, it says Dr. P. So Dr. P. Okay. I will also put all of that information in the chat.
Okay, thank you very much. We're now going to go on to our next speaker. Our next speaker, one of the sponsors of the Black Book Show, as well as being an author, she's also a publisher. And Marcia M. Spence from Marcia M. Publishing House, and also MM Academy. I've also, I've also done collaborations with Marcia in the past. She's been on the Black Book Show. I've also done coaching courses. My latest book, How to Market and Sell Your Book, a Guide for Beginners. When this launched, we did a coaching course together around the book. And we also did a coaching course in January last month about social media, how to use social media to, to grow sales of your book and to market your book. And we will be doing a coaching course as well, in coaching courses in the future in collaboration.
Hopefully in April. Yeah.
Well, there you go. You said it. April, hopefully. So yes, you can either contact me or contact Marcia for further details on the coaching courses. So Marcia, now I'll let you come on and talk whether you're going to cover your publishing or your MM Academy or your authors coaching. I'll let you decide. But welcome to the Black Book, back to the Black Book Show.
Thank you.
Please obviously start by telling us where you're based and a brief introduction who you are, and then go on to talk about what you're going to talk about.
Okay. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Thank you, McConnon. Thank you, Auntie Jean. Thank you to all the other sponsors of this show. And Dr. Tamer, I've already connected you to Tamer P. Pearson. I've already connected with you on TikTok. So on TikTok, I am the memoir motivator. My name is Marcia Spence, and actually I'm celebrating, I almost missed my celebration of 10 years involved in publishing and the distribution of books. I started my journey on my 45th birthday. I had my book launch for a lead generator book, a book for business. At that time, I was a life coach and also a coach for women in leadership, particularly and especially African and Caribbean women. I am based in the UK, as you can hear. I'm based in Birmingham in the UK. However, I serve authors, potential writers, leaders across the breadth of the UK, and also worldwide. My heritage is Jamaican, and I have authors in Jamaica who I work with to develop their books and publish their books, and also authors in the United States as well. It has been a wonderful, wonderful exploratory journey of 10 years. And I became the director and established Marcia M Publishing House in 2017. And we, as a publishing house that supports budding writers and provides services from concept right the way through to launching, marketing, building your book brand, building your author brand, getting speaking engagements. We take you through the whole journey, particularly through Academy, which is an academy for writers where we offer workshops. We also offer one-to-one coaching and support throughout every author's journey. I've been blessed to have worked with my youngest author, was 7 years old, and he's actually my grandson. And he wrote a story, a children's book called Adventures in the Den. And I worked, so from the age of 7, right the way through to my eldest author is now 89 years of age. What I want to talk to you particularly about today is working with people who, and it so much links to the previous speaker, Dr. Tamer, because I am branded, my authors actually gave me the name, the author's midwife. My name is Marcia M. Spence. M is for also my middle name, which I don't tell anyone because I don't like it. And so people of my authors often ask me, what's the M for? And some of them say the M means M as in James Bond. However, what many have done is liken the journey to actually having a baby, because the book is so precious and we start the work from conception. So if somebody has an idea, I coach, I support them. Particularly if they're writing a memoir, if they're writing something that it's so difficult to recall. And what I do in particular is work with people who have difficulty with either writing or communication, or they're they are actually suffering with their mental health. They have a mental health diagnosis or condition. It might not even be diagnosed. And I offer that patience, that understanding when, you know, I'm very tough. So, and I have lots of experience in mental health. And so there will be writers who are trying to communicate their story, and they're struggling with their mental health, and they can't get someone to just listen to them and have the patience to work through the process with them, even if they shout at you, even if they get angry. It's having that skill, that understanding to work with an individual, with a person, and to meet them person to person. And that is what I do. Hence the name, The Author's Midwife. So it doesn't really matter what happens in the process, the frustration, the upset, the sometimes disappointment because they have to wait because the book needs to be at a certain quality before it's released. And I also, and most recently, we're just about to release a book for an extraordinary woman who is neurodiverse. So she's diagnosed with dyslexia and dyspraxia. And what I've done is we've had to do some really specialist work with this author. Her name is Keisha Adair Swaby. So look out for this book. It will be released at the end of this month. And through this journey with Keisha, I mean, I've worked with many people with dyslexia. And again, the work that I've had to do is to help them to pull out their story and provide the support to get that story on paper and then to develop it to become a book. The editorial process for any book means some backwards and forwards with the manuscript, as you will all know as authors and publishers. And so, you know, what we understand is there are many people, not just neurodiverse. In fact, I think we're all neurodiverse. And it's about just using technology, being able to understand about track changes, being able to, you know, work in a manuscript and then submit the manuscript, just to use even Zoom, for example. So there are some very, very fundamental skills that we have to at times equip our authors with, because they may be children, they may have a particular learning difference, they may be elderly and just don't use technology. And so what I do, I adapt the services to enable this book to happen. So what I'd like to do now is just read an extract from, you know, the book that isn't released yet. And I felt it was important for the Black Book Show today to just read some of this book, because as I worked with this author, I could connect with her story. I could see aspects in myself. I could see my daughter who's diagnosed with dyslexia, and a lot of love and care has gone into the development of this book. There are aspects even to do with the paper that it will be printed on. So this book has to be on cream paper so that it's accessible by anybody with dyslexia. The size of the font, so no less than size 13 font. Also the line spacing to ensure that there's the correct spacing that will enable someone with dyslexia to read the book. The other thing is to consider the font that you use. So we're using a font called Open Dyslexic. So this is another recommendation to all writers really, and all writers to think about Who do you want to read this book? Do you want your book to be accessible to everyone? And if you do, then the font size, the font itself, the paper that you print on, consider that. Consider how you present this book, that it can actually reach and be an inclusive book for everyone. So just read this extract now. Okay, this is from Keisha's book, not my book. But it's my book because I've been working kind of day and night on finalizing the book to meet a deadline that we can actually present this at a quite a big dyslexia show that's happening in Birmingham in the UK at the end of this month. Why have I written this book? I've always loved writing, and while I left school with no GCSEs, I have a passion for writing and a dream to make a difference in this world. The main reason is to create more awareness with the hope of helping others to understand more about dyslexia and dyspraxia by highlighting the brilliance of our superpowers. Others won't know your story until you tell it. We can truly inspire and empower others through the sharing of our stories. When I was younger, I was ashamed of my story, but I learned that I shouldn't be. Your story can help others who might be going through the same thing. Many have dyslexia and don't know they have it. It took me a very long time to finally get to the bottom of things. And now it's my time to share my story. It has been said that 1 in 5 people have dyslexia or another learning difference. I choose to call these traits learning differences, as that's what they are. However, everyone who is neurodiverse has their own strengths and challenges. I truly believe that more than 1 in 5 people have dyslexia. My reason for saying so is that I have a group of 7 speakers, and 3 of us are diagnosed with dyslexia and dyspraxia, while the other 4 haven't been assessed. I have been in a room with 2 other people, and all 3 of us were dyslexic. This is why I have a strong belief that statistics do not reflect reality. And I'll just go on to another section of the book. I'm not going to read what is dyslexia and what is dyspraxia. You can research that, although I'm just going to talk about how I feel inside. This is the 3rd chapter. I have to start with a lyric from a song by Chronix, a well-known Jamaican singer, who's one of my absolute favorites. Many people can relate to this song, and for me, it goes like this. You see me smile, but you don't know what I feel inside. So many people look at me now and see this strong woman doing so much and putting the best outside day in and day out. But like many others, I have my own personal challenges. To name a few, I am a Jamaican woman who came to England as a child and has overcome many obstacles to where I am today. I would often overthink things which cause me more complications. My brain is always going 1,000,000 times an hour. My desk was messy, just like my brain. When completing tasks, my computer would have 1,000,001 tabs opened at the same time, just like what was going on in my brain. This was embarrassing, but that was part of me. I felt stupid living with emotions that got the best of me each day. I was angry and dissatisfied, and I didn't know why. I was carrying all the emotions of uselessness. I couldn't organize myself or my time. And I'll just stop with the reading there. But
Marcia,
yes,
for time,
you
just need
got
to,
a minute left.
Yes, you just need to wrap it up.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So that piece about how she felt inside was an example of the work, because she'd written this book, but hadn't shared the emotion, hadn't shared the real experience that she had. And so we worked together for her to pull out that pain, because then, and the purpose of that is so that readers, other readers with dyslexia, or parents with dyslexia, or teachers can understand what a person with a learning difference, with neurodiversity, experiences. I'm Marcia Spence, Marcia M. Spence. You can Google me and you will find me. I have a website, marciampublishing.com. I am on TikTok and also on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere, Twitter. Yes, I saw a message to work with children. Yeah, the thing is, work with children was my career for 27 years with women and children. And so I'm utilizing all of those skills. I'm going to start to enable everyday people to tell their story and make an impact. If you'd like to find out more, if you'd like to collaborate, just send me a message, speak to McConnon, find me online, and I'd love to speak to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcia. Marcia M. Spence from MM Academy and Marcia M. Publishing House. Right, I'm now going to go on to our next speaker, Anisha Jackson. I recently actually interviewed Anisha Jackson, and that interview is going to be coming out tomorrow on the Black Book Show. So I'm just actually going to share my screen quickly. So can everyone see my screen? Can someone just let me know?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you can see the flyer here. So Anisha Jackson, she's going to be talking about her book and also the upcoming Social Emotional Learning Day, which she's going to go on to explain. But put this date, in your diary. It's tomorrow, Monday, the 27th of February on Luton Urban Radio. That's lurlive.com. UK and Ghana time between 8 and 10 p.m. USA EST 3 to 5 p.m. CST USA 2 to 4, and PST 12 to 2 p.m. Where you can hear the interview that I will be having with Anisha, Dr. Tamara Foley, Devon Tellis about the upcoming Social Emotional Learning Day and social emotional learning in general. And there will also be interviews with other authors that will be on there. And also a reminder to please join the Black Book Show Facebook group to stay up to date with the latest information regarding the Black Book Show. If you just put the Black Book Show in on Facebook, the Facebook group will come up, and you'll see information regarding the Black Book Show, the virtual book tours, my radio shows and podcasts. And also, I'm an author for my books. I have 3 books: How to Market and Sell Your Book, Life in Gambia, The Smiling Coast of Africa, and The Rise of Rastafari. They're all available in paperback and Kindle. I'm just going to concentrate now for a moment on this book, How to Market and Sell Your Book, a guide for beginners, because there's a lot of authors on the platform, and I always get bombarded with messages from authors regarding how they can market their book to get more sales and exposure. Obviously, this is a platform that I've got that gives exposure to people, the virtual book tours and the radio shows and podcasts. But this book as well is full of different, it's written for that reason, it's full of different strategies that have helped me and others, to be successful in, selling copies of their book and marketing the book. So if you have written a book, but you would like to increase your book sales, if you're about to release a book and need some guidance on how to market it, if you want to know proven methods and techniques that you can use to help you sell and market your book, if you've tried to market and sell your book but are unhappy with the results you're getting, this is the book for you. This book is an essential book because it contains valuable information that will help you to become successful with marketing and selling your book. The target market of the book is new authors, aspiring authors, and authors in general who need help with marketing and selling the books. Topics that are included in the book, such as, closing book sales from conversations, how to use the media to promote your book, how to turn your book into a business to generate income, and, you know, being an international author as opposed to being a local or national author. So if you're about to release a book, you'll also find this beneficial, as it highlights, you know, how to make money before you have released a book, how to have a successful book launch, and the pros and cons of having your book self-published versus traditionally published. So there's a lot of information in the book for authors, aspiring authors, or people that may be considering to write a book of different levels, even people that are more experienced authors. It is aimed at, you know, people that probably need a bit more help with marketing and selling copies of their book, but experienced authors, you know, that have written multiple books, or, you know, that can take some advice to, you know, to even improve their book, their marketing of their book, and their book sales even more. So it's full of different, you know, strategies, tips, and advice. And there's several people that I know that the book is helping them at the moment, you know, what to market their book. So How to Market and Sell Your Book, a guide for beginners. It's available in paperback and Kindle, and I would strongly recommend, you know, all authors to go and get a copy of that book, because it can help you with, you know, ways to make sales, and, you know, how to different ways to market your book. Right, I'm now going to go on to our next author. Sorry, the book is available. It's on Amazon.co.uk, or if you're in the States, you can go on Amazon.com and get the copies of the book. Now, I am going to introduce the next author, as I mentioned, is Anisha Jackson. So Anisha Jackson, she is the author of the book Queen Kaya's 8-Step Guide to Friendships. And she's also going to be talking about an upcoming social emotional learning day. So Anisha Jackson, if you would come on and start by telling where you're based, brief introduction, and then go on to talk about, you know, your book and the social emotional learning day coming up.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I am Anisha Jackson, and I am in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I am a student success advocate and a children's book author. So you might be like, what is a student success advocate? That just means I am a school counselor. I have worked in education for over 17 years in various capacities, but my greatest role is that of a school counselor. I absolutely love what I do. I work with the elementary students, and based off of my counseling sessions with my 4th graders and 5th graders, I've decided, you know what? I'm going to write a book, and it is called Queen Kaya's 8-Step Guide to Friendships. And it is truly a labor of love. McKinnon, I might need to pick up your book because I'm interested in knowing, now what's the pros and cons of being self-published? Because I am a self-published author, and I must admit, I love owning my character. And if I were to be approached with a traditional publisher, you would think that would be a lot of authors' dreams. However, for me, I love my character. I love the direction she's going in. And I love the autonomy. So anyhow, I'm Anisha Jackson, and my book, Queen Kaya's 8-Step Guide to Friendships, deals with everything relating to friendship. Now, as a grown woman, I have children of my own, and sometimes they come home and they are teary-eyed or upset about a friendship that's not going right, or someone called them a name. And as a parent, me and my husband, we go like, we have bills, we have other things to worry about than a friendship issue. But listen, friendships matter. And there are children who have a difficult time making friends. Now, we all know the impact of COVID. Health-wise, someone said we'll never be normal. There's no way that we can ever go back to what it used to be. But as an educator, when I say I have seen a difference in children, their frustration tolerance is near zero. The anxieties, I meet with students so much more on anxieties, and a student was like, Ms. Jackson, I just had a panic attack. And I'm like, whoa, like you're in 5th grade. Why are they so sudden? And unfortunately for her, frequent. So COVID has done a number on social skills, on anxiety and frustration. And that is why I'm so very thankful to be part of a group of authors called Lit for SEL, who really value social emotional learning. So you might say, yeah, when I went to school, we had the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Well, I am very glad that nowadays we are promoting social emotional learning. And what exactly is that? That is just attitudes and skills for children and adults that will help them be a healthy and most productive version of themselves. So there are 5 components to social emotional learning. One is self-awareness, and self-awareness deals with you identifying your emotions. What are your goals? What do you add to the table? So that's the first one. The next one is self-management. This is where those coping strategies come in. When I meet with my students, I'm constantly talking about, all right, what's the strategy? You get frustrated here. Oh, this is a trigger. After you identify what's a trigger for you, how can you create, what coping mechanism, what strategy can help you overcome that? That's identifying emotions. At this young age, some kids might not even have the language to say, I'm frustrated. They just tantrum. That is their way of expressing there is something going on and I don't know how to fully express myself. So identifying your emotions, self-discipline, also setting positive goals for yourself. Then there's the third piece of social awareness, perspective taking, having empathy. It's not all about you, but seeing other people's perspective, relationship skills. Can we say kids and these TVs? And it's not even TVs anymore. It is more so iPads and technology that sometimes is robbing students of creativity, of verbal skills. Literally, I sat with some kindergartners and I was like, all right, so just talk. They did not know what to talk about. They didn't even know how to start a conversation. Now, what they did know is they were like, well, my dog pooped. And I'm like, well, okay, thank you for sharing that. However, let's start a conversation. Hi, how are you? And then continuing a conversation. So there are definitely social skills that are lacking with our students and social emotional learning, which is, there's different programs. It's what is needed to help students be successful. And the final component is responsible decision-making. Even in kindergarten, even I work at the elementary level, so even up to my 5th graders, trying to teach them how to rationalize, how to think through, how to problem solve, and how to have critical thinking skills. All of these things will help them in the long run. So as it relates to my book, Queen Kia's 8-Step Guide to Friendships, I mention like 4 out of 5 of these components. Some students don't know how to make friends. They don't even know the words to say. So one of the SEL components that I have in here is relationship skills. Actually, friendships is all about relationship skills. How do you advocate for yourself? What do you bring to the table? Even as adults, I feel we can ask that too. We can say, as a friend, what makes me a good friend? How can I engage with others? Am I a little bossy? Am I a little selfish? Or am I empathetic? How do I communicate? Do I know how to use I statements? In my book, some of you all will be able to see. But one of the things that I have in my book is how to apologize. How do you apologize? I'm sorry. Well, no. Even if adults use that, that is not going to be the best way for someone to even halfway listen to what you have to say. So it's just teaching them effective communication skills, such as just saying I statements, but I feel this way, but also identifying feelings. I feel jealous. Who's going to admit to that? Not many kids. So they'll just be mean to you, but really they feel left out. They don't feel seen. And the amazing thing about social emotional learning is that teachers and educators, they're getting on the same page with teaching kids how to verbalize, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling angry. I'm jealous. I feel left out. I'm hungry. Some kids are just hungry and they're just like, wow. And we have hangry. There is a such thing as hangry, but just giving kids the tools to identify what are you feeling? And now that you know you're feeling frustrated, you feel it in your body. Now, how can we do something about it? Just letting them know that frustration is okay. Anger is okay. It's just a matter of how you express it. There are healthy ways that you can express it. So going back to Queen Kia's 8-step guide to friendships, talking about effective communication, even how to start a conversation. Like I said, kids talk. Have you heard a third grader's conversation? Sometimes you might need to insert yourself, but sometimes it's just, there's no natural back and forth that I'm an 80s baby, that I'm used to. I'm used to a natural back and forth, but sometimes with students, they're stuck. So in my book, it's an 8-step guide. So on my second step, I talk about how do you even initiate a conversation? I'm an introvert / extrovert. I don't know which one I lean towards to, but I can start a conversation with others. Some may have difficulty, especially some of my shyer kids. And so through Queen Kia's 8-step guide to friendships, one of the steps is how to initiate a conversation by also giving them tools. And that's my main thing as an author. And as a school counselor, I am an advocate. I want students to be the best versions of themselves. And sometimes that takes explicit learning where you have to do a sentence start like, hi, my name is Anisha. What's your name? What do you like to play? And also actively listening, because we know communication is just not talking. We also know that it's listening. So that is also in Queen Kia's 8-step guide to friendship. One of the other things, this is my favorite step. Like I said, there are 8 steps on how to make friends, how to be a good friend, and also how to let some go. But my favorite step, I actually had to learn as an adult. So social emotional learning doesn't stop at the kids, but even as an adult, it's find your kindness and respect crew, and the first line is the toughest lesson to teach my littles is everybody's not going to like you. You could be the best person. You can be the funniest. You can be nice. You could be generous, and some people still will not like you. You have to be okay within yourself. So there we go with the self-awareness. I'm comfortable in my skin. Responsible decision-making. Who should I be friends with? In my book, Queen Kia is taking one of her friends and leading her away from a bully. A lot of kids, now this is real situations, they see bullying happening, but they don't know what to do. So Queen Kia takes the student and leads her friend away from the bullying. But that's advocating for yourself and advocating for others. All of this all of this fits into social awareness, self-management, and self-awareness. It's okay to stand up for yourself and be yourself. That's one of my other steps in the book. Be yourself. Don't try so hard to fit in. Students are very aware of that. Even adults are very aware of wanting to fit in, that we're social beings, but not at the expense of having to change who you are. And all of these components are found in social, emotional learning. Once again, self-awareness, self-management. How do I manage my stress? Even as an adult, having a beautiful family, having a husband, having work, having my book business. I'm writing a new book on grief, managing all of that. Sometimes it can get overwhelming. Well, I need to identify that. And then what can I do to help me with that? And like I said, relationship, resolving conflict. It's okay. Even in my book, I talk about the friend you had when you were in 2nd grade might not be the friend you have in 6th grade, in 5th grade. And it's completely okay. That is okay. And you need to adapt. You need to figure out, now, what do I do now? Find Your Kindness and Respect Crew. So that is my book, Queen Kia's 8-Step Guide to Friendships. And I oh, okay. But this, I am so very thankful to be part of a group of authors. For books are vital to teaching kids skills. Like, we could talk about it all day, but you have a character that looks like them. And my character is brown like me. She has braids like me. That's why I'm like, I think I'm going to say the self-published.
Anisha, we need to round it up now, because we need to go on to the next week. So can you just give the links of, where your books available, and then how they can find out more about the Social Emotional Learning Day? There's a website, or how they can find out more.
Absolutely. Thank you, McKinnon. All right. So you can look us up. We're called LIT, L-I-T, for S-E-L, S-E-L. And so this is our website, www.linkr.ee/lit for SEL. And there are 4 of us. There's Dr. Tamara Foley, Dr. Devin Tillis, and Dr. Christy Black Morrell. And we are here to celebrate SEL on March 10th, or actually leading up to March 10th. SEL is vitally important. Please visit our websites. All of that, just go to this website, linktree/lit for SEL. Once again, linktr.ee/lit for FEL. Thank you, McKinnon.
Thank you very much. That's Anisha Jackson. Right, I'm now going to go on to the next author. Another one of he's a sponsor of the Black Book Show, Wayne Hines from Truth Communications, Media and Publishing. Wayne Hines from Truth Communications. Wayne, if you would like to come on, I'm not sure, you may concentrate on your publishing or your book today, but either way, or a bit of both. But either way, the floor is yours, Wayne. If you just come on in, start by telling the audience where you're based and introducing yourself, and then go on to tell us all about what you do.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, McConan. I so appreciate the opportunity here. Let me turn my camera on here. Especially the work that you and Auntie Jean are doing is just tremendous for our community. And so I'm so appreciative and thankful to be on this journey. It's been a few months now that we've been journeying with you here on the show, and it's so enlightening to hear all the different authors, publishers, and speakers. We have, it's golden. I just see us as golden, what we have available to us here. Okay, so I'm going to share with you, as McConan says, my name is Wayne Hines. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I'm an author and a publisher. My publishing company is called, I'm actually a technology specialist by trade, many years in the technology field, and I'll be talking a little bit more about my book than the publishing company. But just as a quick intro, my publishing company is called Truth Communications, and Truth is an acronym. I'm going to share my screen here, and I just, if you can just let me know if you can see it in full screen when I do the share. My company is Truth Communication. I have a number of companies, but the publishing company is called Truth Communications, and Truth stands for Trusting Righteousness Under the Heavens. And I have been running the company for a number of years now. Let me go back here. Before I share with you, I'll just stay here. And I wanted to just talk with you about my book, which I've recently published, called Reclaim Your Digital Gold. Now, under Truth Communications, media and publications, we've published a number of books, about 4 or 5 nonfiction books with authors in Canada and US, actually working with an author right now, a doctor in the US, to publish his book, and doing a couple of others, and also published one children's book that we're very, very proud of. My book is really about my area of expertise, and that I've been in the corporate world for a number of years. And it's not as many people may think of a technology background. It's not like a high techie book. It's more of a technology guide about our data. And the world in the current space that we're in right now is we're in a digital space. So I'm going to show you a couple of videos real quickly, and then I'm going to come back and talk with you a bit more about the book. So let me just continue here. Oops, let me share again. Okay. I trust you can hear the audio when it comes on.
Your personal data is changing business and society. The digital age requires more data to power society's new engine. This book gives insight into the importance of personal data and how it's being used to shape the future of business and society. As a result of the widespread acceptance of the Internet, booming mobile device usage, and vast amounts of data, new business models have emerged to meet our every need and convenience online. Data has become the fuel to power many businesses' goals and engines as they collect, measure, and analyze it to market it to people like you and me based on our searches, behavioral habits, and purchasing patterns. Some of these companies provide enticing behavioral and habit-changing services that'll result in irreversible social change. Data has quickly become one of the world's most valuable commodities, and we're willing to trade our personal information for convenience, entertainment, and instant gratification. We explore what the future of business and society might look like, as well as practical steps you can take to reclaim and reposition your digital gold. Order now. ReclaimYourDigitalGold.com. Published by Truth Communication Media and Publications. Publish with truth, where dreams come to life.
So I'm just going to take you a quick journey on my book.
Reclaim your digital gold.
Sorry for the audio; it's a little low. I understand that, but just if you can listen.
Changing business. Written by Wayne Hines.
Hello, hi, I'm Wayne Hines, and I'm here to share a little bit about a book that I've written that is very near and dear to me. I love technology. Technology is one of my passion, and I've just seen technology, how it's transformed our world in just a short period of time. And as a result of that, I've been in technology space for a number of years, and went to university to study computer science, and back, I won't date myself here, but back then it was the clunkers of computers, if you will. And it's amazing to see how things have just expedited so fast in terms of innovation and technology. And so I wrote this book called Reclaim Your Digital Gold. And Reclaim Your Digital Gold is about data, how data started sort of in its infancy. And as a result of that transformation of all these, or I should say, innovations, from software development to hardware innovation to the internet boom, all the way through to where we are today with artificial intelligence and social capitalism, and there's so many things that are happening around us and happening so fast. And I wanted to capture that in a book.
So what you're looking at is a digital version of my book that's on my platform through my publishing company, allowing you to flip through the pages and interact with the book, including videos and audio. And this is just a small sample.
In loving memory, to Steve, my brother and friend, thank you for sharing in my season of deep inspiration and transition, but you left us far too soon. Mad love, my brother.
I lost my brother during the publishing of this book, so I paid a tribute to him.
Introduction. Data has quickly become one of the world's most valuable commodities, and we are willing to trade our personal information for convenience, entertainment, and instant gratification. As a result of the widespread acceptance of the Internet, booming mobile device usage, and vast amounts of data, new business models have emerged to meet our every need. and convenience online. Data has become the fuel to power many businesses' goals and engines. They collect, measure, and analyze it to market to people like you and me, based on our searches, behavioral habits, and purchasing patterns. Some of these companies provide enticing behavioral and habit-changing services that will result in irreversible social change. This book gives insight into the importance of personal data and how it is being used to shape the future of business and society. We will explore what the future of business and society might look like, as well as practical steps you can take to reclaim and reposition your data power. Changed.
So I won't go through the entire video here, but just
data leaders in data collection.
But this is really just to show you the digital version of my book. And I do this with all of my authors, so they can see the visuals during the process of publishing their book and creating that final product. But at the same time, this is a final resting place on my platform that they can also publish their book and have a digital experience, which is on a mobile device or a PC. And of course, you can see it's searchable text. It's essentially very similar to Kindle and Audible combined into one with audio and video. Well, they don't offer video. We offer video in terms of capability. So this is the digital version of my book here again, just to show you the kind of the platform and what we help our authors to publish. Continuing on the pace about my book, though, I want to just finish off here in my last few minutes here about the book itself. So let me just...
We know that Google is tracking us. We agree to it when we set up our phones. So we wanted to figure out what exactly Google is learning about us throughout the day. So here's what we're going to do. We have two identical phones. The only difference between these two phones is this one is in airplane mode. Both of the phones lack a SIM card, and they haven't been set up to access any Wi-Fi networks. So for all intents and purposes, these phones have no connection to a data network. We're going to keep them with us throughout the day. And while I travel around DC, we're going to figure out just what Google is finding out about me.
Our first stop, Sim's convenience store, just outside our Fox bureau, for a quick coffee. From there, we took a walk to the Capitol and took a quick walk around the Senate office buildings, and then decided to hop in a car and head around town.
Hello. We're going to the Children's Hospital, please.
To run our test, we had to do more than walk the block, so we took a tour around our nation's capital. First, due north to the Children's National Medical Center Hospital, then west to St. Albans School and the National Cathedral. Our tour around town was a 14-mile journey that lasted more than an hour. The entire time, the phones had no access to the internet.
Oh my goodness.
Not a Wi-Fi connection and not any cellular data service. It almost seemed quaint to assume that Google wouldn't even be able to collect data on me.
Let's head back to the bureau, my friend. Oh, that church is beautiful.
Google's business model is simple. Collect data on its users and then use that data to sell targeted ads. It's a business model called surveillance capitalism. But does that critical data collection work even when your phones aren't connected?
So we're back here at our Fox Bureau in DC, and we've got both of our phones exactly how we left with them. The only difference, really, I snapped a couple of bad selfies at the National Cathedral. But otherwise, they have stayed in my pocket for the entire day. So let's find out what they know. This is our man-in-the-middle device. It's basically a Wi-Fi network that these phones are going to connect to once we turn their Wi-Fi on. It's going to pass data through it on the way to Google. But on the way, we're actually going to get a copy of the same data that Google's going to get. We'll be able to decrypt it and then find out where we've been throughout the day.
Within minutes, the numbers rolled in. The phone that wasn't on airplane mode registered more than 100 locations, 130 activities, and even 152 barometric readings. As soon as it hooked up to our Wi-Fi, it transmitted 300 kilobytes of data straight to Google. The phone even logged our exact locations, tracking us all around town, the Capitol, the hospital, the school, and the cathedral.
Now you may notice what's missing here is the exact route that we took, but it got that data too. It knows when I got out of the car.
The metadata has a time log down to the very second, tracking everything when they think that you're walking, riding, and yes, even getting out of the car.
Okay, so you're thinking, this isn't a big deal. I'll just put my phone in airplane mode. Yeah, we thought of that too. This is the other phone that we had with us that no SIM card also remained in airplane mode the entire time. Let's see what kind of data it captured.
The phone with airplane mode activated actually logged more locations and activities than the other phone, and it also transferred hundreds of kilobytes of data to Google as soon as it was activated.
The only thing that's missing from this map is our stop at the Children's Hospital, but it still knows we were there. There it is. Exiting vehicle, 100% accuracy.
Through complicated user agreements and free software, Google gets users to sign away their privacy for nothing. They're even following you in the places that most people would expect total privacy: government buildings, a children's hospital, a private school, a church. Every move you make, every step you take, Google is watching you.
We know.
Well, if you measure by research, basic research, papers published, excellence of research,
Wayne, we're running out of time.
And will be ahead for the next decade.
Can you stop this video?
But if you measure by value created,
and just mention where
how
your
much
links
market
are available.
capitalization, how many users, how much revenue, China probably is already ahead.
And why is that? Just a minute here.
Well, China has a very large market, which means a lot of data, and AI eats up data. You know, in the age of AI, data is the new oil, so China is the new Saudi Arabia.
Simply because they have more people?
More people and also more data measured per person because your payment is all captured. Everything you pay is by mobile phone.
In this book, though, you talk around. Okay, so just to wrap up here, my book is, as you've seen, it's about data and how our data, our personal data, is being used to transform the world. And it's not from that's so much of a complete negative perspective. It's really giving you the tools that you need to be able to protect your data. And there are many ways in here that we give you the power and controls back in your hands, that at the end of each chapter, we give you what is called the digital gold nuggets. And it's really some tips and tricks to help you in each of these areas that we cover off in the book to be able to regain the control of your data. And in some ways, monetize your data, because some of these companies are using your data to monetize that. We talk about the evolution of the web from 1.0 to 3.0, the future of the internet. We talk about blockchains, metaverse. We give you social media overview and how your data. And one of my favorite chapters in the book is called the social score. And it's a way that potentially the future could look like as it relates to data. And as we know, artificial intelligence is really what sits on top of data right now to add a whole different level of interaction. And we cover that off in the book too. So without belaboring this anymore, I just wanted to just share with you my links and how you can get access to the book. You can go to reclaimyourdigitalgold.com. I'll put this in the chat. Reclaimyourdigitalgold.com. I'll also put my publishing company is Truth Communications. So it's truthcommunications.org. You can reach me at wayne@truthcommunications.org. And I will put all this information directly in the chat. Once again, thank you, McConnell, for so much for this opportunity. And thank you, all the authors, for the great work that you're doing. You can reach me. All the information is available in the chat. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Wayne Hines from Truth Communications, one of the sponsors of the Black Book Show. Looking forward as well to seeing you again, Wayne, next month. Right, let's go on to the next author now. Our next author is Dr. Tasha Ellis. So Dr. Tasha Ellis, if you would like to come on and tell us about the book you've written, please start by telling us where you're based and introducing yourself, and then go on to tell us all about the book you've written.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Tasha Ellis. I am very impressed with what I'm seeing thus far, and I would love to connect with many of you as it pertains to just your style of writing, in addition to marketing. So I did take a picture of the book, so that is something that I will be looking at as well. My name is Tasha Ellis. I am an educator. I've been an educator for 2 decades now, and I've taught grades K through 8, and I've also taught adult literacy. In addition to being an educator, I am also an author of my first book. I do plan on writing more books, and so I think what's been holding me back is the marketing, so I'm feeling encouraged, and it's time to write. So the name of my book is titled #Enough. Also, I'm sorry, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. So the book is titled #Enough, and it is about a young boy coming of age. He's a tween, he's around 12, and he's learning things through social media as it pertains to brutality for children of color. And so he has some harsh but necessary questions for his parents, and he's trying to understand why certain things are happening in the media. And he doesn't see evidence of these things happening in his own home. And his father himself is a lieutenant for the police department. So he has a lot of tough but necessary questions. It's a good book to help children as it relates to learning about violence, and in the most loving way and compassionate way that I could put this information together. But the little boy realizes that, you know, he lives in a post-era Dr. King world where his best friends are, you know, multicultural, and he's wondering why things are different in his path. And he's realizing this has been a generational thing. So he realizes that he's had enough, and he decides that he wants to become an advocate for peace and bringing, you know, going about changing laws and things of that nature. So it's a great book, great read. I'm very excited about my book. This is what the book looks like, #enough. And in the background, this is Atlanta, Georgia, downtown Atlanta. This is a little boy, Christopher, and his best friends and his sister. So we have this book. It is available. You can reach me on Instagram, Dr. Tasha Ellis. Facebook, I already put it in the chat. My book is available on Amazon. It's under Tasha Ellis, #enough, and it's also available on Barnes and Noble. I'm trying to go as quickly as I can because I want to be sensitive to time. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And thank you for your time. And I do hope you get this book, enjoy this book, and give me some positive feedback. And I look forward to connecting with many of you in the near future.
So, Dr. Tasha, just could you just repeat how to find you? Because you said it very quickly, and those from Black Culture Radio didn't give them a chance to probably get a pen. So please do.
Absolutely. This is the title of the book, #enough. It is available on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon, it's under #enough. And my name is Tasha Ellis, EDD. So for my doctorate, EDD. But it's Tasha Ellis, #enough. And this is what the book looks like. It is also available on Barnes and Noble.
Okay, thank you very much. That's Dr. Tasha Ellis. Please also leave your details in the Zoom chat. And yeah, it was really great interviewing you in the week as well. So that interview where I interviewed Dr. Tasha Ellis will be on the Black Books radio shows coming up soon, and also on the Black Book Show podcast. So again, listeners, join the Black Book Show Facebook group to stay up to date with info regarding the radio shows and also the podcast, and indeed the virtual book tours. And if you are author that would like to feature on the Black Book Show, one of the virtual book tours, or one of the radio shows and podcasts, please contact me. There is info@blackbookshows.com, info@blackbookshows.com, or you can contact me via WhatsApp on +44 7943 178 117. That is +44 7943 178 117. Please contact me via WhatsApp only, or WhatsApp or email, but WhatsApp message or call. Obviously, don't call me now because I'm on the I'm doing the virtual book tour. But after the show, and the name Makonnen Sankofa, Makonnen, MAKONNEN, MAKONNEN. Right. I've also put the link to my book, How to Market and Sell Your Book, in the chat earlier. I'm going to put it again, How to Market and Sell Your Book. I recommend it for all authors on the show and authors that listening in general, of your aspiring author. It will help you to market and sell your book. It is a guide. Even though the subtitle was a guide for beginners, even experienced authors can learn very much a lot of the tips that are in there. Right, let me go on to our next speaker, author, who is a sponsor of the Black Book Show, Barty Durr. Barty, she's the author of the book called Worth. Barty, please introduce yourself and tell us where you're based, and then go on to talk about your book, Worth.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say thank you, Makonnen. Thank you, Auntie Jean, for inviting me to speak about my book. It's actually called Worth. Don't know if you can see the cover. And it was published in March 2021 by Hay House Publishers UK. So I'm going to start by just doing a quote, an affirmation from my book. The affirmation I have is worth is accepting and celebrating who I am. And who am I? I'm a strong Black woman. And I just want to talk about what worth is about. So it took me a long time to accept my identity, I'll say. So worth is about being abandoned on the roadside in Uganda as a baby, and then subsequently being adopted by a Punjabi Sikh family, Asian family. And it was only after I was adopted that people found out I was actually dual heritage. I'm part African and I'm part Asian. And worth is about me trying to navigate that journey of abandonment as a baby, and then the adoption and the messages around adoption. So I had good messages. My family were told, you know, oh, you're going to be blessed for adopting this child. And then on the other side, oh, this child is going to bring great dishonor to you because, you know, she's going to do what her birth mother did and bring an illegitimate child into the family, and it's going to disgrace the whole family. So there were those mixed messages that I had growing up. I've also navigated the journey of colorism and racism from both the African part of the community as well as the Asian part of the community. And so having to find my worth through the sort of messages of, you know, you're too ugly because you're dark, or you're too ugly because you're dual heritage. So, you know, and neither community accepting who I was and what I was. So becoming very aware as a child of those sort of negative messages. And then in 1972, we had to leave Uganda when Idi Amin ordered all the Asians to leave. Obviously, I was adopted, so I went with my family. And again, you know, my adoptive mum, being asked at gunpoint to leave me behind and refusing with great courage. So my worth is about the courage of women, the courage of mothers. That's just a small snippet of what my mum went through in terms of, you know, me. And that is just a very stark reality of leaving Uganda and actually putting her life at line, on the line to adopt me. I've also in Worth talked about my health issues, such as getting lupus and a skin condition called EB, and the different sort of messages I got around that were both positive and negative, and how I actually navigated my health problems. So I think Worth is about, this book is all about searching for one's identity and accepting one's identity eventually. And so my worth is about what I did. How did I find my sense of worth? How did I accept myself? And what did I have to do to accept who I was? And what sort of divine forces helped me to understand that I am a valuable person in my own right, and that I am loved by God and I am accepted by God. And so I really hope that you will pick up this book and read it. And I hope it has some messages that resonate with people in whatever life journey anybody is on. Worth is available on Amazon. It's also in the USA, available in Barnes & Noble. There are e-sales. I am on Instagram as Bharti Dear, so I'll spell my name for those on the radio, BHARTIDHIR. And I'm also, I would say it's also available on Waterstones, W.H. Smith, and all the major bookshops. And I just want to say thank you for having me on this show.
Okay, thank you very much, Barty Dunn. Thank you, for being one of the sponsors of the Black Book Show. And yeah, please put your details as well in the Zoom chat. I'm now going to head on to our next author this evening, which is Danny Thompson. And Danny Thompson, he is the author of the book Ethiopianism. So, Danny, if you would like to come on the platform now, please. First of all, welcome you onto the platform on the Black Book Show for the first time. Hopefully, maybe the first of many. Anyway, Danny's going to come on the platform. Please start by, telling us where you're based. Introduce yourself very, very briefly, and then go on to talk about your book, Ethiopianism.
Yeah, I've prepared a short presentation, and I introduced myself via the presentation. So can I go straight ahead and share?
Yes, perfect. That's fine.
I'm going to. Whoops, sorry. So can everyone, let me just get to the front page. Okay, the front page. And lovely. Can everyone see that? And everyone hear me?
Yes, we can see you and hear.
Lovely. Yes. Okay, thank you. So my name's Danny Thompson. I'm a Black history teacher based in London. And what you're seeing is the front and back cover of my book, Ethiopianism, the Forgotten Movement. For some reason, the top of the book has been a bit clipped, but Ethiopianism, the Forgotten Movement. My background is, as it says, I'm a Black Studies tutor. I'm an author. This is my second book. I'm a musician. I was actually a music teacher for 35 years and professional musician. And I'm also a filmmaker. By way of introduction to the book, I'd like to share with you a promo that I created. It's about 1 minute and 50 seconds long, so I'm gonna share that with you now.
Question: what comes to mind when you think about Black people and Christianity? Many of our best political leaders saw Black people and Christianity as just a brainwashing tool. But was that the complete picture? While it is true that Christianity was, and still is, used as a tool of psychological subjugation, not everyone fell for that. Did you know that there was a radical Black history in Christianity that formed the basis of Pan-Africanism? My research was inspired by a story that has little been told. Beginning with African-American radicals in the 18th century, they created Black liberation theology, a sense of Black pride and a pride in African heritage that spread to the Caribbean. It spread to Black people in Britain, and it spread to the African continent itself. They created the first Pan-African networks that crisscrossed the 19th century world. These ideas would go on to inspire the likes of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Moorish Science Temple, Rastafari, and Black liberation theology. Black liberation theology involves the ideas of Dr. Martin Luther King and the Reverend James Cone. Now, for most people, this is new information, so let me repeat. Ethiopianism is the real history that created Pan-Africanism. It was the movement that ultimately liberated Africa from colonial bondage, and its history hasn't been told until now. Available from Amazon and from evolvingcreatives.com. Ethiopianism, the Forgotten Movement. Time to remember.
Okay, thank you. So how did I come about to write this book? 2 years ago, I did a master's in research in African history and history of the African diaspora at Chichester University under the tutelage of Professor Hakeem Addy. This was originally my dissertation paper. And in my research, I found so much powerful, empowering information. I thought I must turn it into a book and share it. So yeah, that's how the book came to being. If I just go. So what is Ethiopianism? I just want to share with you the basic tenets. God in human form is Black and deliberately misportrayed as white.
Blacks should direct their own religious and secular destinies. Ethiopia is the symbolic home of all Black people and the root of their cultural and historical legacies, especially for Christian Blacks. This connection gives Blacks a direct claim to ancient civilizations and history. Whites are naturally aggressive and acquisitive. God will intercede on behalf of Blacks against whites, which is otherwise known as providential design. Blacks are a noble race brought low by white oppression. Ethiopia / Africa is the place to where Blacks should return and or should develop through financial and political investment. Now, why I've put the stroke there, Ethiopia / Africa, is because from ancient times up until relatively recent modern times, the continent we know as Africa was known as Ethiopia. So the name Ethiopia didn't just refer to the country that we know, but all of Africa was known as Ethiopia. In fact, what we today call the Atlantic Ocean used to be known on as the Ethiopic Sea. And you can still see it on old maps called that, yes? So, yeah, so that's the basic tenets. And sorry, let me go back. So this ideology spread around the African world and people adapted it to their own environment and to their own needs. But these are the basic fundamental tenets of it. What I'd like to do now in terms of the content of my book is to share another couple of short videos with you, which speaks about the content.
Did you know that the African Zulu Choir, also known as the African Native Choir, led by South African activist Charlotte Mange, toured Britain between 1892 and 93. They did so in order to raise funds to build community schools in South Africa and to fight the imposition of apartheid. Charlotte Mange returned to South Africa, where she founded the Bantu Women's League and campaigned for representation of women in the newly formed African National Congress. To find out more about other radical African choirs, buy the book Ethiopianism, The Forgotten Movement.
Oops, sorry.
Did you know? Question. What was the most popular musical in Britain in 1903? Answer, Indehomey, an African-American musical that played at the Shaftesbury Theatre, London, to packed-out audiences. Written by Will Marion Cook and Paul Lawrence Dunbar, it starred Bert Williams and George Walker, two of the biggest vaudeville stars in America, who also choreographed the show. Indehomey was a comedy with a repatriation theme, which told the story of African Americans returning to Africa. For more information on this and other radical Black entertainers in Britain during the Edwardian period, buy the book Ethiopianism, The Forgotten Movement.
Now, part of why I made those, selected those two videos, pieces of information, was to explain that this ideology wasn't just an intellectualism. It was found in literature. It was found in entertainment, yeah? So one more. Oh, sorry,
Did you know?
my bad.
Did you know that African-American Ethiopianist George Lyle built the first Ethiopian Baptist church in Jamaica in 1784? In this church, he preached that slavery was a sin, and as Christians, Black people had a moral duty not to submit to it. As his church grew and his message spread across Jamaica and other islands, he was eventually charged with sedition by the Jamaican colonial government. For more information on Ethiopianists working in the Caribbean, buy the book Ethiopianism, The Forgotten Movement.
So that's just to give you an idea of the content of the book. I deal with the growth of the movement in America. I deal with the growth of the movement in Africa. I deal with the growth of the movement in the Caribbean and Britain, which was actually the hub of Pan-African activities between 1880 right up until 1930s, 1940s. And I also explain how that came about. Yes. See, I'm used to taking questions, but I'm not taking questions right now. So that's about all I wish to share right now. It's available, as I said, it's available at Amazon. It's available on my website, www.evolvingcreatives.com. I'll put links in the chat. And yeah, that's it. I just want to end by saying big thanks to Brother Makanen and Sister Auntie G for giving me the space to share my works.
Thank you very much. That's Danny Thompson, author of the book, Ethiopianism, The Forgotten Movement. Right, I'm now going to go on to our next speaker, who is Jyrens. Jyrens is not author, but he can help you authors if you are author and you're looking to translate your book into another language. His company does translation in multiple languages, and he will be translating one of my books very, very soon as well. So Jyrens, if you would just like to, to come on and tell us a bit more about your book translation services that you offer.
Hi everyone. I can see that it's very late. Can everyone follow me? It's almost 10. Hello?
Okay, see you.
No problem. Thank you for the presentation for all the authors, starting with, I think it was Dr. Tamara. No, let me just get Dr. Ingram. I really love the story, especially the personal story you shared and the information you shared. Thanks a lot for Mr. Chris, I think Chris Pitrad, for serving your country. We are PTS, we're a translation company based in Ghana. And at the moment, Makonnen is based in Ghana as well. We help authors translate their books into French, Spanish, English, and other languages because we believe authors have ideas worth sharing. And so far, we've translated the books. I'll just show a couple of books we've translated. If I can share my screen for some few minutes. We've translated, recently we just completed a translation of a children's book from English to French and Spanish for the Spanish and French market, Granddad and Me. We've, sorry. So we have the book Granddad and Me, which speaks about the relationship between a granddad and her granddaughter, how the granddad raised the granddaughter, and now the book is available in French and Spanish. So what we do, we take the book, no matter what it is, if it's a children's book or an adult book or any other novel, we make it ready for publication in the other language. We've helped other authors like Dr. Bill Whiston for the translation of his book from English to French, and Dr. Gracie Stephens for the translation of her books to English to Spanish. So at the moment, we've partnered with the Black Book Show to help authors that appeared on the show translate their books from English to other languages so that they can become international bestsellers and have their books read in other languages. Thank you. If there's any question, I'll put my information on the chat for any contact or any reference. Thank you.
Jyrens, can you just give your website for just those who are listening on Black Culture Radio? I know you're going to put the information in the chat, but if you could also just say it for the people that are listening on the radio.
The website is polyglottranslationservices.com. Polyglot as a polyglot, POLYGLOT, translation, TRANSLATION SLATION, services, SERVICES.com. And my email address is jchristanv at Polyglot Translation Services. jchristanv, JCHRISTENVIE at polyglotTranslationServices.com.
Yes, and I noticed you translated the book in French for Doreen Robinson, author of the book Granddad and Me. You were connected through her through the Black Book Show. She came on one of our shows, correct?
Yes, she came on one of the shows, and that's where we got to know about her.
Cool, correct. Okay, so we've the Black Book Shows, we are in partnered with Jairon and his company to offer book translated services. And there's a discount code, there's a promotion code that they get through the Black Book Show, isn't there?
Yes, we have the promotion code for the Black History Month, but that one is completed. That one is terminated. But based on the partnership, we have another discount for the Black Book Shows authors.
Okay, so how does that work? And they contact you or they go on the website and they quote the code? How does that work?
So they can just come on the website. I think they can come on the website. It's still a second, sorry. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
This is our website. So on the instant quote, we have an instant quote page. And on the instant quote, yeah, they can still put the Black Books 2022. I think that's the reference for our partnership.
The Black Books 2022, was it 2023?
No, 2022.
2022, okay. The quote on the Black Books 2022.
Yes, please. Black Books.
Okay, that's fine. So yes, if you put Black Books 2022, you will get a promotional offer. So yeah, Jairon's also, please put that in the Zoom chat, please. And thank you for joining us this evening. Right, we are now coming to a conclusion, the end of the Black Book Show this evening. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass it over to you, Auntie Jean, before it comes back to me to close out. So Auntie Jean, is there just any comments you wanted to make or anything you wanted to say just before it comes back to me to close the show?
Sorry. Yes, just like to say that any authors would like to come onto the Auntie Jean's African Culture Market or the Garvey Village Zoom, please do get in contact with me. So you can elaborate a bit more on your book and, answer any questions that that may arise. Because I do know that everybody has a short time on the Black Book Show, so it's enough to promote, but it's not enough time to get to know you a little bit more as an author. So my contact details are 07 961 886 032. I shall repeat, 07 961 886 032. I shall put it in this chat. But thank you. Oh, there's such an array of books. It's absolutely amazing. I'm really enjoying hearing all of you and the work that you put into your books and the contents of the books. So I just want to know more. But thank you.
Okay, and I'm just gonna go on now for the final few minutes. But before I do that, I just want to say: is the African Culture Market staying? Is there open after this for something else after the Black Book Show finishes, or are we finishing there together?
Just for an hour. We go on to the 11 o'clock. So we just do got sort of like the current affairs, what's actually going on. We talk about that and make comments on what people know and what we can share with one another.
Okay, so what I'm just going to do now in my last few minutes is I'm just going to share my screen. A reminder, my radio show is on tomorrow 27th of February on Luton Urban Radio. Anisha Jackson, who was one of the authors that spoke on this evening's show, I will be interviewing her alongside Dr. Tamara Foley and Dr. Devon Tellis about Social Emotional Learning Day in their books. That is on Luton Urban Radio. The times you can see there on the screen, depending on your time zone. Obviously, you'll know the relevant time that applies to you, and that's on lurlive.com. Luton Urban Radio. Also, please join the Black Book Show Facebook group. If you put the Black Books Show on Facebook, you will then find the Facebook group. So please join the Facebook group. The website, www.blackbookshows.com. You can also, check out the website. This recording will be shortly put on YouTube. But for previous radio show and podcasts, I normally keep the interviews in the backlog here, where you can go back and listen to different interviews, as well as the different videos of the virtual book tours. So this will be updated shortly. The videos are normally they go out on a YouTube channel, Pete English Literature channel. So I have a partnership with Pete English Literature channel. I just want to give a shout out to Peter from Pete English Literature channel. See the last edition, January, of the Black Book Show. If you want to watch it or you haven't seen it already, if you go onto Pete English Literature channel, you'll be able to actually watch the last edition of the Black Book Show. I'm also going to be sharing it soon as well. That was the show in January, and this show, February, will also be going on that YouTube channel very, very shortly. If you would like to feature on the virtual book tour, or you would like to feature on the radio show and podcast, please get in touch. The contact details is, you can go on the website, blackbookshows.com, and then go to contact us, and you can fill in the contact us form and submit that. Or you can contact me, or for if you're author that would like to feature on the shows, or if you would like to sponsor, at info@blackbookshows.com, info@blackbookshows.com, or you can WhatsApp me on +44 7943 178 117. That is +44 7943 178 117. My name is Makonnen Sankofa. That's Makonnen spelled MAKONNEN. Also, the reminder, the book, for all authors that are listening, or aspiring authors particularly, How to Market and Sell Your Book, A Guide for Beginners. It's available on Amazon. It's a real essential book for those that need help with finding ways to market and sell your books. There's a lot of content that is covered in there. Just going to go some over the titles, for including how to have a successful book launch, how to do online events, how you can turn your book into a business to generate income, ways that you can use conversation to close the sales, different techniques. I come from a background of sales anyway, so I've been able to use that and apply that with selling my books, in having conversations and certain sales strategies. How to market and sell your books at physical events, building a strong media and presence, and how to use influencers to help with your book sales. The international market, very important. This is an international platform where we have authors, and people that come on and listen from different parts of the world. So how to, attract an international audience as opposed to just being a local or national author. And particularly, if you, depending on the book that you've written, because if you've written a book to a very niche audience, there may be a small percentage of people in a particular location, locally or in a country, that might be attracted to that kind of book. But if you then target yourself to people in the world, it's a much more bigger target that you've got, and more people that opportunities to sell your book and become an international author. And there's plenty of other useful tips that are there. It covers Facebook advertising, how you can use Amazon, how to set up an Amazon seller account. Author account, Author Central account. So there's different things that's covered on the book. But I'm just going to conclude now by saying I'd just like to thank everyone who has joined the Black Book Show was going to say this evening. Well, where I am, it's the evening in Ghana. It may be the afternoon, depending on obviously where you are. I know some people are in the USA, and I would just like to say, please join us again next month. The next Black Book Show will be on the 26th of March. And I'd just like to, shout out to my mum. I saw my mum waving at me. So yes, hi, mum. I'll be speaking to you very soon, and updating you about my time here in Ghana. And that's pretty much everything that I've got to say. But until next time, you will those who are on my mailing list be emailed about the upcoming virtual book tour for next month. Also, those who are on Auntie Jean's mailing list will know about it, the event as well. Otherwise, join the Facebook group to stay updated. But as far as the Black Book Show is concerned, this evening, this is a conclusion of the Black Book Show. However, if you would like to stay on, Auntie Jean's African Culture Market is continuing for another hour. So Auntie Jean will be, talking about other things in the next hour of the African Culture Market. And you're all welcome to stay on. But this is a conclusion of the Black Book Show this evening. So I would just like to say thank you all, everyone, for joining us. And I look forward to, I might not be seeing you, but you'll be all seeing me next month. So take care and goodbye.
Right, thank you so much, Makonnen Sankofa, and we will see Makonnen next month again for the Black Book Show. Absolutely excellent. Thank you so much, and I'm really enjoying the collaboration. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you. Speak to you later.
Okay. Enjoy your evening.